Pop culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on the Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, sunshine. Happy Tuesday to you. Hopefully your day is off to a good start. Let me just adjust this. Sorry, I had put my stuff away because I had company over yesterday. Y'all know, I think I was telling you I was about to go to like a jazz show and whatnot. Ultimately, we did not end up going to a jazz show. We wound up going for a walk along the Seine River, and actually have a video I'm going to post for you guys on Instagram. Do you guys remember how like the Olympics were held in Paris last year, and then there was like the big kind of gray thing with like the flames that like went up in the air? We got to watch that go up in the air. It goes up in the air like every night for like the entirety of the summer and whatnot. And then, you know, that show on Netflix called Wednesday, like the Addams Family, they had this like cool little installation along the Seine River that we got to check out as well. So that's what I was up to yesterday. Anyway, so nice to see y'all here. We've got Paprika, Gala, Ali, K, Car, Gwen as well. Gwen says, please send good vibes for me to keep my sanity today. They're doing construction to remove an old rotted door, and I'm still exhausted from the weekend. Oh my God. Let's hope that that goes by quickly so that you get to catch up on your rest, Gwen. Nightmare. I hate construction, so I know exactly how you feel. We got you, boo. Please, you guys, send all the best vibes Gwen's way, and maybe vibes of rest for her as well. Good morning, Ronnie, Cynthia, Michelle, Tadisha, Brittany's in the house as well. Good morning, Kaichi, Venetia, Stephanie, Alyssa. So nice to see y'all here. Keisha, Laura, Kahara, Latasha. Rainy day for you. Hate to see it. Hopefully the sun comes out. Crazy Dalmatian lady, Matt's back. Hey, boo. Hey, Portia. Hey, Cammie. And everybody else joining us. And shout out to those of you in the bushes as well. So much to discuss in today's episode of the Morning Report, per usual. Actually, not per usual, because yesterday was a little skimp. I think we only chatted for about 45 minutes because it was skimpy. Okay. Hey, Melissa, Miranda. So nice to see y'all too. Today we're going to be talking about how MTV reportedly threatened to fire Cory, not just from Teen Mom Next Chapter, family reunion and everything, but also from The Challenge. And we're also going to get into Jenelle Evans wishing her nephew Jace a happy birthday. I guess she remembered his birthday this time. Remember, there was a time where she was like kind of like talking about him and his B-day and his age and stuff, and she messed up his age. She doesn't know how old this child is. We've also got to talk about Skims, that new product that Kim is launching from her company. The thing about like shaping your jawline. Doctors are saying this could actually cause you nerve damages and whatnot. And we also have to get into Denise Richards. Is she okay? She's going through a contentious divorce with her husband, and she just showed up to his house unannounced while she's got an active restraining order against him and everything. And cops were called to the scene of the quote unquote crime. Diddy was denied bail yet again, thank God. And Candace Owens shared that Donald Trump reached out to her personally after a visit from Emmanuel Macron and asked her to stop spreading rumors of Brigitte Macron being transgender. And I think last but not least, we're going to get into, oh yeah, did Tiffany Haddish and Jason Lee have a baby? Personally, I think this is AI, because when you look closely at this photo, it is just too freaking weird. It's like this empty, wedding hall, event hall, or something like that. Like, it's just giving AI to me. So I personally do not believe this rumor. I think that these are two people who need a little bit of attention, who decided to use a fake baby to get it. If you guys find yourselves enjoying today's episode of the Morning Report at any given moment, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows you enjoy my content. Why don't we start off with Jenelle wishing her nephew a happy birthday, shall we? So here she is on her Instagram account sharing the activities that she did with Jace for his birthday. So first we got a selfie of the two of them in the Grand Canyon with a helicopter. And the caption reads, and I quote, "To the young man that made me a mother. Happy birthday, Jace, 16 years young." Are you sure he's 16, Jenelle? You might need to double check that, boo. He is, but I'm just saying, because she did forget his age. "You're the most ambitious and caring boy I know. Seeing you get through trials and tribulations of life and still come out on top makes me so proud." The gag is, the trials and tribulations of life is her, right? Janelle's boyfriends, Janelle's husband, like, those are the trials and tribulations of Jace's life, right? That his mom was a deadbeat, could not raise him. She was too busy partying. She literally said that motherhood, having to raise this child, was like being in jail. She chose jail, aka more time away from this kid, so that she could go to a Kesha concert. And now she's over here on Instagram talking about, wow, like, I am in awe of the way you handle the trials and tribulations of life. Ma'am, excuse me. Anyway, so like I said, she posted that photo of them in the Grand Canyon. And so she posted a video from a helicopter ride that they were on for that outing and activity, which I think is very cool. I don't know if any of you guys have ever gotten to do that. I've gone to the Grand Canyon, but just to take a look at it, but I've never done the whole helicopter thing, which I think is really cool. A girl I used to work with, she actually got married in the Grand Canyon in an elopement, which was also kind of neat. That she posted a photo of the two of them. I guess this was them in the lobby of the restaurant or a hotel or somewhere like that on their way to a fantastic dinner. Listen, she spared no expenses when it came to celebrating her nephew's birthday. And that is the way that it should be, right? Especially considering her money and her relevance comes from him anyway. So you're seeing steaks, you're seeing carrots, you're seeing lots of good things. And that is one of those good restaurants with a white napkin on the table. It's not one of those, the little bibs, plastic cutlery and whatnot. Like, she took him to a good restaurant, as she should. How do y'all feel about the way that Jenelle celebrated Jace's birthday? Let's get into you guys' comment section about all of that. In the live chat, I should say, sorry. The comment section is for my playback posse. Laura says, LMAO at her nephew. You know it, boo. You know it is her nephew. Can you still believe that she forgot this child's age? Like, that'll never not be funny to me. Hola, chica. Ya llegué. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. I see you, boo. Not boo boo. Bibi. I'm so, you know what? You speaking to me in Spanish is so exciting because voy a bailar esta noche con mi amiga. I'm going to go dance tonight with my friend. Where are we going? Comptoir Général in the 11e arrondissement to dance salsa, salsa, salsa. Miranda says, without the challenge, Cory is nothing. And you know what? We're going to get into that too, right? Like, that's why he turned down the opportunity to star in the not the challenge, sorry, but in the Traders. He thinks he walks on. Oh, y'all are really hyped for this Cory story. Listen, I'm going to bookmark all of you guys' comments, and then we're going to get into that one next. Okay, you guys. Let's see. Good morning, Ramster. How are you feeling today? I know you were sick yesterday. Are you feeling any better and well rested? So Jaleesa says, happy birthday, Jace. Trials and tribulations are Jenelle. LMAO, aren't they? Winnie the Cat says she's one of those influencer moms who treat their kids like a boyfriend. So weird. Jess says that's her son, not her nephew. Does she know that? Does she know that as much time as she spent with him? Ramster says AI is going to be a huge problem. And it already is. I'm so spooked by some of the things I'm seeing. I fell for that AI video of the bunnies on the trampoline. Like, I thought those were real bunnies in a real trampoline. Because, like, who would just go and make that? Like, for what? Then says, I thought the Grand Canyon was very on fire right now. Is it? I had no idea. Laura says, Jenelle has her nephew with her because she doesn't have a man of the moment. He is 16. That I know. LMAO, my son's birthday is literally 6 days before his. Well, happy belated birthday to your son then, Laura. Super cool. It is on fire. Really? I had no idea that the Grand Canyon was on fire. Damn. So how is it that they were able to do this helicopter ride? Because it sounds like that would be a dangerous thing to do at this given time, right? I'm seeing some birthday wishes coming through for Jay. So yeah, again, shout out to Jace. Listen, Jace is innocent in all of this. Remember Winnie the Cat, they just moved to Vegas, and then Jace was having a lot of troubles. He was running away frequently. He was placed in a group home. Then he was shipped off with his deadbeat father. So I would venture to guess that he doesn't really have friends. I don't know that he's even had the time to make friends, given the situation that he's currently in, which is just, really, really sad when you think about it, because 16 is such a pivotal year in your life. And so, having that community, especially when your home life is as toxic as his home life is with Jenelle as a mother, like it sucks that, he wouldn't have that. Jaleesa says, I'm glad he had a great birthday. He deserves it. And I agree. He deserves the best. And the comments that he was making on social media about just being in a really dark place were incredibly concerning. And so I hope that Jenelle is taking that stuff seriously. Like, taking him to a restaurant, on a helicopter ride, that's all well and good, but make sure that you are taking care of him on the inside as well, because he's going through an awful, awful lot. Lol says, my brother was the same at 16, just a family dinner. Sometimes that's just all you need, right? Something nice and calm, especially in the chaos that is growing up Jenelle Evans' son. Hey, Amy, good morning, boo. How you doing today? Steph says, this is what Jenelle was waiting on him to be old enough to take care of himself and they can hang out. That's what it is, right? There are some people like that. Even Ryan Edwards bragged about that on the show. He said, he doesn't like the baby stage. He wants for the kid to be able to hang out, go ride some dirt bikes or four-wheelers or whatever it is that he likes to ride. And that's it, And so Jenelle is very much like that. She's very much like deadbeat dad vibes. Laura says, I'd imagine he'd be afraid to have a party with who his mom is. Could you imagine, Jenelle? You know what? Do any of her kids have big birthday parties with friends? I'm trying to think, do they? Right? And then they're estranged from so much of their family, her family especially. So do they do big birthday parties with the family? How does she typically handle, these kids' birthdays in general, right? Ronnie says she has to get on Jace's good side so she can get the new MTV show with the kids. Listen, that check is coming, y'all. That check is coming. Are you guys going to be tuning in for that? Because, again, Kale had mentioned this in her podcast a little while ago. Good morning, Tracy. And thank you, Venetia. I'm so excited about how, they started kind of sending out contracts to the kids for their spinoff. So is that something that you guys think you're going to be tuning in for? Or would you prefer just to have kind of the recaps? Let me know. And Jaleesa, I'm glad you're coming. Listen, hit me up, boo. Hit me up, boo. Hopefully I'll still be here. October is my birthday month, so sometimes I do go away, but hopefully I'll still be in town. You guys, so basically, that is how Jenelle decided to celebrate Jace's birthday. Listen, it looked like a great celebration. I would be happy if my aunt picked me up, said, hey, girl, get in, loser. We're going in this helicopter. And then afterwards, I am taking you to a bomb-ass dinner. So I'm hoping that these are the little things that make him feel loved, treasured, and valued. Because again, when he was posting on his social media, it was along these lines that he did not feel that way. He did not feel seen. He did not feel wanted. And he was in a very, very dark and depressive place. And so if this helps him to feel good and to feel happy, then all the more power. And, again, I really do hope that she's continuing to keep an eye on his mental health, because it was in a very scary place not too long ago, right? With all the running away and whatnot. So happy birthday to you, Jace. And, I hope you did have a good time celebrating, even if you had to celebrate it with Jenelle. Anyway, you guys, let's get into our second teen mom story of the day. Shout out to the Ashley's Reality Roundup for recapping Cory's Snapchat rant about what exactly has been going on with him behind the scenes and why MTV has been threatening to fire him, not only from the Teen Mom franchise, but also from the Challenge franchise. According to Cory Wharton, there's a different show on a different network that reached out to him to see if he could participate. And that show is none other than The Traitors, which appears on Peacock, which I think is under the NBC Universal umbrella, right? And so Cory told his followers on Snapchat, quote, I got hit up to do Traitors season 1. I was 2 days away from leaving to film, and MTV called me and said, you are not going on that show. If you like the 2 jobs we have you hired at, Teen Mom and The Challenge. Those were my 2 consecutive gigs, jobs I had with MTV. They're like, if you like these 2 gigs, then you're not going to go on The Traitors. And I was like, well, 2 is better than 1. And Traitors isn't a continuous show, while The Challenge and Teen Mom are reoccurring. It's twice a year. I was winning, so I was like, all right, let me not go. Listen, I'm actually quite surprised that this was not something that was brought up until like 2 days before he was slated to go, because typically a contract would have been signed, and before he even signs his contract, wouldn't he have spoken to his entertainment lawyer? Wouldn't he have spoken to his network? Like, all of these things, just to make sure that it was even okay. So like, I kind of need more of the background of this. Like, did they initially agree to allowing him to do this? And then like at the last minute, they changed their mind. How did that work out contract wise? Because I imagine the people over at the Traders were not happy about that. How do you find somebody to replace Cory or anybody, right, on a show within 48 hours? And it's being filmed in Scotland, a completely different country, continent, visas and stuff like that, work permits. Like, it just doesn't really make sense to me, this story that he is telling in particular. And on top of that, like, multiple people from the challenge have actually appeared on that show. There's been Joey Bananas. I think CT has appeared on it and whatnot. So, and they still continue to film the challenge. So why is it that Cory in particular was not allowed? So kind of about this, you guys believe this story, or that it played out exactly the way that he's trying to make you believe that it happened? I'm really, really kind of like stumped here about how this ultimately wound up playing out. So let me see what you guys have to say about this. Good morning, Amelia Bedelia. Good morning to everybody else tuning in. Steph says MTV probably saved him. Why do you say that? Malen says, I don't believe it. CT and Bananas were on the Traders and they're now in the challenge. Exactly. That's why I'm having a hard time. One thing about Cory is Cory really does love attention. And I think that people who love attention can kind of even venture off into the realm of making things up, specifically, because they know that it would be scandalous and that it would give them a certain level of attention. So I don't know. I got to be honest with you guys. I don't know, like, if his version of events is accurate. Like, I have a hard time believing that, as big as his contracts for Teen Mom and the challenge are, that he would sign on to do a show with a different network without running it through everybody, and that everybody would say yes. And then at the very minute, like, last minute, 2 days before his flight, all of a sudden they would pull the rug out from under him. Like, it just feels incredibly, incredibly unprofessional. Ramster says Cory hasn't read the fine print, right? Maybe he felt like he knew it all. He didn't want to spend the money, reaching out to his lawyer to get the lawyer to read over the contract, negotiate behind the scenes and stuff. Maybe he didn't feel like he had to answer to anybody at MTV. And then, he found out the hard way. But if that's the case, then how did they find out he was going to go ahead and do it, right? Because you're not supposed to tell anybody that you're going off to do this show. It's all supposed to be like this kind of like big surprise and secret. Jalisa says, wow, that sucks, because if these people from the Teen Mom shows want to make more money, if they can, they should. That's the thing, right? And again, like, we've seen other people from the challenge appearing on Traders and then continuing to go on the challenge. So I don't know. And I do know that there are non-compete clauses with different networks. Remember, when Jenelle was claiming that Amazon, Netflix were begging for her to work with them, she said that she was held back by her contract. She couldn't work with any other networks, right? So that is something that has existed for a long time, but I'm just not so sure about this one particular case. Milan said Wes is another person from the challenge who's also been featured on the Traders and continued to work with MTV after the fact. Emily says, I think it's time for Cory to get a real job. I kind of hate his smug face. Listen, Cory is never, ever, ever going to work a 9 to 5. Does he have like a background in working like a traditional job? Because I believe he started doing reality TV like from his teenage years or very early 20s. So I don't know how somebody like that goes from being able to make like piles of money, right, for like a month or two or whatever of work. And it's not like regular traditional work, right, but like just doing adventures and things that he enjoys doing, being on TV, to, I don't know, like working at Shoppers Drug Mart or something. I don't know. How does that work? Walgreens or whatever. Miranda says, same Emily, getting sick of him. Y'all are really not feeling this guy, and I'm not surprised. Cory is an incredibly, incredibly kind of like arrogant person. So I get why you guys do not care for him that much. I don't personally care for him either, if I'm being really honest with you guys. Ali says, honestly, I think it could be a possibility to be true, because they could have wanted other people from MTV to represent them. And that's the thing, right? Sometimes these networks, even though like they do have these non-compete clauses, sometimes they do work together because, like, in some way behind the scenes, there is a connection with them. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, sort of a deal, in order to promote their shows and their stars. So for example, are y'all watching The Perfect Match on Netflix? For the first 2 to 3 seasons, you had to be from the Netflix family in order to be featured on Perfect Match. But now they have opened it up to other stars. So there are people from ABC, like The Bachelor. There are people from Peacock, like these different things. So you expect to see more of this and less of the non-complete compete clauses moving forward, right? Ronnie says he's making things up to get his name in the news. Ramster says The Traitors is a Dutch production. My apologies for the Dutch TV crap spreading like a wildfire. Latasha says Bananas has been on any show that will take him. He was even on Pop the Balloon. And speaking of Pop the Balloon, where the hell is Farrah Abraham's episode? I've been waiting for that to pop up, pun intended, but it hasn't. Did they drop her? Like, was it really that bad? Like, how did that go? How did that go? Good morning, Crystal. Nice to see you. Hope you're having a great day so far. Tanisha says, I think MTV should have let Cory do Traitors if he's telling the truth. And I agree, right? I don't think that Traitors is a direct competitor to The Challenge. And I actually think in a lot of these cases, they are complements to each other. People who watch The Challenge or, could be influenced to watch Traitors because they like these kind of competitive things, seeing their favorite reality stars in it, and vice versa. So somebody from The Challenge appearing on The Traitors, in my mind, would be beneficial to The Challenge if they hadn't heard about it. Like, wait a minute, what's that? I like this person. I like the whole, seeing how smart or, tactical celebrities, reality stars are. Why don't I give that a try, sort of a thing, right? So I don't know. We'll have to see. Savings by the Shell says, coming in to say hi. I'm on break at work, but we'll be tuning in to see the video around 2 p.m. Good morning, everyone. Well, thanks so much for popping in, Savings by the Shell, and we can't wait to see you in the Playback Posse. Have a great day at work, boo. Miranda says, without The Challenge, Cory is nothing. Like, that truly is his whole identity and his soul, right? Ronnie says, yes, 100, do it. He thinks he walks on water and needs a reality check. Miranda says he lives, eats, and breathes The Challenge, period. Y'all are dragging him so hard in this live chat. So Cory really is just persona non grata amongst my co-reporters, right? Laura says, that was always such a good joke that proved true time and time again. When he says, I hate that AI makes me question everything now. I'm telling y'all. Julissa says, wait, what happened with Cory? So yeah, essentially MTV was threatening to fire him from their franchises if he participated on The Traitors, which again, I don't get it. I think it would be a really, really good crossover for both channels to benefit from, but I digress. There was a couple more sort of commentary from Cory in regards to this entire situation. By the way, once again, shout out to the Ashes Reality Roundup for captioning his Snapchat meltdown about all of this, right? And so let me see what else it is that he had to say. And so Cory says that he tried to negotiate with them because his daughter needed open heart surgery, right? Remember his young daughter, I believe it's Maya. What's his Mila, right? It's his daughter Mila that has the heart complications, if I'm not mistaken. Well, he was telling the executives, listen, but I need the fast cash, right? Like, it's $30K that they're going to pay me for 2 weeks of work. My daughter's having open heart surgery. I need the money to pay for this. Can I do this, right? And unfortunately, they just did not budge at all on that, which is, rather disappointing for him. As he said, that's when I got off the phone call and them basically saying, you're not going to Scotland. You can't do that show because it's in competition with The Challenge. And he also says that he just does not see how it's in competition with The Challenge because the format, the concept of the two shows are just so different in his opinion. And again, listen, they're so different in my opinion as well. Listen, can I ask y'all something, my Americans? If your kid has to get open heart surgery, do you have to pay for the full thing out of pocket? Is there not insurance? Should Cory have insurance? How does this work? Essentially is what I'm trying to understand. Maya has the heart issues. Okay. Thank you. Mila is the first. You're right. I thought Mila was the second one. How does this work? So obviously you do need a certain amount of money, right? What is this, copay or something like that? But would he have to pay that big, I don't know, tens of thousands for this surgery? How does that work? That sounds like a lot. So it's Mila and Maya, not Maya and Mila. Thank y'all. Robin Hood says he's now complaining her surgery was long ago. Yeah, because this was lining up with season 1 of The Traitors. Cory was supposed to be on season 1 of The Traitors. Sweet Bonjour says insurance doesn't cover everything. Does it cover a good amount at least? Because what's the point of insurance? If it's not going to cover a good amount, at least I don't know, 70% of it or something. right? Oof. Amy says insurance should help somewhat. Somewhat? That's great. Honestly, insurance kind of sounds like a scam. Paprika says he should have insurance with all his money. That's what I would think. That's why I'm so kind of confused about all of this, right? And Paprika, MTV does not give them insurance just because they are contractors rather than like, what is it called? A W-2 employee. So, oof, Lord, this sounds really, really bad. A lot of you guys are saying that insurance is not as fiable, dependable as you would think. People go into hella debt because surgery costs several thousands. Damn. Even with like, what is that called? Obama healthcare. What is that called? Medicare. She says insurance should cover some, but the remainder is out of pocket. And she says he should have insurance, which pays for it up front. Honestly, that whole situation is very sad because, there are some people who have chronic health complications or health issues. And it kind of seems like with this daughter in particular, she's had multiple surgeries and like, it seems like a long-term thing for her. So like, how do you survive as a family if your insurance is not even going to cover that? When Angie, it really does look, it's giving scam. Like that's crazy that you're paying monthly into something and then it won't even like cover you. You still have to pay, out of pocket. Like that is just so crazy. And that's what I'm thinking, Malen. That's why I'm so freaking confused. Honestly, Gwen says cover even though you pay them like $1,000. Yeah, like how is that possible? Honestly. Oh, Lord, listen, trying to understand healthcare or insurance in general sometimes is a little bit of a headache. So let me move on to our next story, okay? We got to talk about Kim Kardashian, or as that girl, that influencer, Kim Kardashian. So did you guys see this like ad campaign that's like sending people into a tizzy, like this kind of like jock strap for your head? So she's selling these things. She said it's going to help snatch your jawline. My first thing when I saw the photo is that it's going to actually recess your jawline because you're pulling your jawline back from the back of your head. So when you do that, you're going to have your, like when, some people have like kind of weak chins or something with jawlines and it kind of like goes into their neck. That's what this looks like it's going to do, in my personal opinion. Right. And so now there's some medical experts, including some not cosmetic surgeons, but plastic surgeons who are speaking to the U.S. Sun about the potential downsides of the Skims face wrap. They say that it could cause a number of health issues like joint misalignment, you guys. Okay. So in the advertisement for the face wrap, Skims claims that their first ever face innovation is here. Quote, this must-have face wrap boasts our signature sculpting fabric and features collagen yarns for extra soft jaw support, ultra soft. Velcro closures at the top and nape of the neck allow for easy everyday wear. And so the medical experts who have spoken to the U.S. Sun, including a cosmetic doctor, said that the wrap will not reshape your face permanently. It's not going to do the permanent jaw sculpting that she wants you to believe that it will, or the structural changes. You need to have actual, surgical intervention for permanent results. Even fillers, even Botox are not going to give you those sorts of permanent results. So the idea that this is claiming that it can give you those kinds of wow results is just, it's fake, it's a lie, and it's false advertising. Some people said that this could be a TMJ use case, but the surgeon is saying that that is not the case either. Quote, it is not a replacement for proven interventions like facial exercises, contouring treatments, filler surgery, or professional care for TMJ. And they also said, like I said, this could actually, push your jaw backwards, you guys, or upward in a very unnatural way that could cause joint misalignment or clenching. This seems kind of rather risky to me. And if I can be honest with you, sometimes when I see people who want these things like the gua sha or the Skims face wrap or the corset or whatever to snatch this, to snatch that, 9 times out of 10, just changing your lifestyle is going to give you a more snatched jawline or a smaller waist or something like that, right? Like these little kind of like gimmicks that these people throw at you are nothing compared to a healthier lifestyle. She's going to make bank off of this, right? Just like she made bank off of like the nipple bra and whatnot, but it's just not necessary, like at all. Okay. Listen, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to adjust the lighting in here because it's a little bit too dark for me. Give me a second. And then when we come back, we are going to get into the Denise Richards story, right? Police were called when she showed up to her estranged husband's house unannounced while having a active restraining order out against him. And then we've also got to talk about Diddy being denied bail yet again. Candace Owens dropping the dime on Donald Trump. And then we're going to finish it off with this, is it AI or not photo of Tiffany Haddish and Jason Lee seemingly claiming to have had a baby together. And listen, when you get back, I'm going to read your comments about the Kim story. I'm sorry, the lighting is driving me nuts. If you guys are enjoying today's episode of The Morning Report, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I'll be right back. The Morning Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Tired of learning languages in boring, frustrating ways? Try TalkPal. TalkPal is your personal AI language tutor. It teaches you languages in fun, engaging ways. It gives you real-time feedback, assesses your pronunciation, and the learning process is personalized just for you. Join millions of other learners and start your language learning journey today. All right, I'm back and hope, oh my God, look at the difference that makes. Jesus, I should have done that earlier, huh? Okay, let's get into you guys' comments about this Skims facial jock strap. I want to know how many of you have ordered it. Listen, this is a judgment-free zone for now. Let me know if if you guys are going to be, spending some of your money on this product. By the way, I'm seeing so many of you guys' comments about insurance, and it's all just so insane to even read about, like how unfairly you guys are treated about this. Gwen is talking about being $250,000 in medical debt. Like that should be illegal. That is like there's no way. There's no freaking way. How are people not happy with this, accepting of this? That's insane to me, right? Ramster says, isn't this just a post-surgery mask? Yeah, like when you get a liposuction, like neck, chin lipo, they'll put you in this like a faja. But it's because they did the work, and this is just like helping your skin attach back to the muscle, right? But if you're not doing the work and you're still stuffing your face, as soon as you take this thing off, your double chin is still going to be there. So it's really, truly unnecessary, right? At the end of the day. Laura says, I just think the Kardashian craziness would have died out by now, being as it started before my grandma passed in 2014. Well, that's the thing, rest in peace to your grandma, by the way, Laura. Sorry for your loss. But I'm still surprised as well that they even managed to last this long. Honestly, this is a testament to how crafty they are, right? Because, people who aren't really all that known for much of anything, like being able to build several successful businesses like this and to stand the test of time, absolutely insane. By the way, sorry about your situation too, Gwen. Like all of this, it all sounds so freaking evil. Evil, evil, evil. The way that healthcare works for you guys, right? Jaleesa says this is so stupid. I'm telling you, but again, I think she's gonna make mad money off of this. But why? People do not need this. They don't. KK says resorting to surgery, then pay for supplies used in all doctors separately, surgeon, anesthesiologist. Exactly. It's really, really expensive, right? But at the end of the day, if you get the lipo, this is going to help you get your skin to attach back because the fat has already been taken out. But if you're not changing anything, you're not losing the fat. So there's no point. There's no point, right? Exactly, Steph. It's for after lipo. She's just kind of like remarketing something that already exists and, trying to invent a use case that it's not used for. Surgeons will tell you up and time and time again, no, you can't just use this on its own. It's not going to do anything. Ali says, I could get the same look with an Ace bandage. Exactly, right? Get an Ace bandage, or like Sweet Bonjour says, get something from Shein. Like all of it is going to have the same 2-second effect. When you take it off maybe for an hour, maybe for 30 minutes, you'll have that snatch look you're going for. But, eventually your face is going to puff right on back up, and that's okay. Our faces do not have to be super angular and snatched. And that's the thing, when you're watching these shows, a lot of these people, even like really young people, they look so harsh, like everything is so freaking harsh these days. And I don't know why that is. Like when did women like looking so harsh and angular become like this new norm for us? I don't. Like you can lose an eye, you can pop an eye out with the jaw lines that some of these people have, with the noses, with the lips, with the cheekbones or cheek fillers or whatever some of these people have. And it is absolutely insane. I've got another story. It's not going to make you guys feel any calmer, okay? It's still toxic, but let's just move on to it anyway. Denise Richards. Can I ask you guys what you think about her? Do you think she's off her rocker too? Because I kind of low-key think she is, right? Especially after this story. She has a restraining order out against Aaron, who is her estranged husband. they had dogs together. And I guess she wanted to see the dogs and to bring them to her home because he moved out of the home. And she decided to just waltz over there, not make any kind of arrangements or anything. Apparently, she was screaming at his elderly parents. The police were called, of course. And it was just this whole cluster F. What is that about? Like, who does that? I think that maybe that's something that should be handled in court, how to deal with the dogs, or maybe like, a text message to Aaron's parents about the dogs, to communicate through a third party, something. But to just show up there like that was not a good idea. And, I don't know. I'm starting to wonder what's up with her. Like I've been telling you guys on the past few seasons of Housewives of Beverly Hills that she appeared on, she seemed a little bit off, right? Drugged up or alcohol out of her mind sort of thing. And I did wonder if it had anything to do with this guy, but these stories now coming out about how this divorce is being handled behind the scenes are very creepy, not creepy, but very uncomfortable. Like something really is not right there. Like this is just not logical behavior. So TMZ was the outlet that broke this story. They said that Denise showed up unannounced, went around the back and started banging on a back door, demanding to be let inside. And so Aaron immediately fled the house because he is not supposed to be within 100 yards of Denise. And his parents were the ones left to deal with this. They eventually let Denise inside. And TMZ sources claim that Denise barged in and demanded the dog, screaming at his parents that they needed to get out of the house and putting her finger in their faces. And then she went off on Aaron's brother, swinging at him and throwing mail at him, allegedly. I think at this point she's frustrated because this is one of her properties and her estranged husband and his family are living there. But this is the thing. You decided to marry a broke man. You're going to have to pay. You've let him be accustomed to a certain lifestyle. You had access to rich men who are on your level, and you chose to get with a man who didn't have a real career, whose whole career is a bunch of like woo-woo, mumbo-jumbo BS. So you can't wife that up and turn around and be like, get out of my house. No, like, baby, that's his house now. Like, and it's all because of you, right? Like, that is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. Luckily for Denise, the police did not press charges or anything like that, but still, right? Just saying. Ronnie says, I hope she gets help. Sweet Bonjour says, Denise Richards is a lunatic. She can't be the only sane one in all her relationships. And I agree. I'm sorry. Like, you're not attracting all these psychos and weirdos and like, what do you call these? Charlatans. And, getting into long-term relationships with them without being a little bit off yourself. Laura says, I don't know why people feel the need to fat shame. That's how we all get all these stupid inventions like the chin ace bandage thingy. Exactly. Leave people alone too. At the end of the day, like, again, we don't all have to be sharp, angular faces. If you got to chubby your face, you got to chubby your face. Who cares? Ramster says, hang out with weirdos must have some effect. It rubs off on you. And I think so too. Like there's something off about her. Alex says, I think they're both crazy. Very trashy. Juan says it's because he deleted her other dog. Like put it down, like euthanasia at the vet, like because it was sick or something, or David Eason style, put it down. Crazy. Milan says, remember, it's also her house his parents are living in. Exactly. But listen, that's her fault. Who told her to go and wife up a brokey and then to put his whole family up in one of her houses? Like, poor coochie management. Listen, you got to do better. You got to do better. This is going to be Cheyenne's future. If things don't work out with Zach, this is going to be Cheyenne's future. So pick wisely. Steph says, what in the hood, love? These are wealthy crackheads. I'm telling you, this is just so freaking ratchet. So ratchet. Laura says, I need a shirt that says the word allegedly with an A on it to send to you, Grace. Oh my God. Allegedly and I digress are, my two things. Angie says, Ian, that's what I was thinking. How the F does Cheyenne and Zach live so lavishly? They travel so much. I want to know their ways. Listen, Cheyenne comes from a rich family. So I think the family does maybe help out in certain respects. And then the money from the show, and she does a lot of Snapchats. Snapchat pays well, y'all. Like if you think like these other social media platforms pay well, apparently Snapchat is 10x that. And then, just these other things. But I wouldn't also be surprised if they were living above their means. So I don't know. I think it's a mixture of all the things. Ramster says, I hope she gets a different lawyer from Jenelle or they end up like neighbors. Yeah, I'm kind of concerned for her about how this will go. And they have been married for a very long time. I think it was 7 years. So it's not necessarily 50-50, but it's, he's getting a nice chunk of change, length of time to be married. Paprika says, Grace, you kill me. David E says, well, I'm just asking. I got to verify the things, right? Because when you hear about like, someone putting down a dog, crazy. Hang on. I got to look into this dog story because that is crazy. I had no idea about that. So I get her wanting to protect her dog from him. But again, there is a certain way to go about things. This could have gone very badly for Denise. She could have been arrested, right? Charged with trespassing, harassment. Maybe, hopefully she wouldn't be charged with violating her restraining order, right? As a TV victim. But still, this sort of thing, this could have ended very, very poorly for her. So I'm happy that like she wasn't arrested or anything like that. However, I need for her to do better moving forward. This is also chaotic. She's still got young children to look after. And, these headlines cannot be good for her, their mental health, or even her brand. She's still an actress. She needs to work to make a living. And when you're running around behaving this way and you're associating with like, a charlatan, like you really lower your stock, right? By the way, did we talk about this in yesterday's show, how she's filming for the current season of Housewives of Beverly Hills? So she filmed a scene with Sutton and Erica. So I believe she's going to be talking about her divorce, just an FYI, to keep an eye out for that in the following season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Oh, God, you guys, here he comes. Guards, release him. We've got a little bit of a Diddy story to share today. Hopefully I'm able to get through this quickly because y'all know I cannot stand talking about Demon Diddy, right? So Diddy was denied bail, you guys. The judge has been holding firm. This man has been offering everything but the kitchen sink. I think he even offered his booty hole to be let out of jail, right? And the judge said, absolutely freaking not. Keep your 50 million, keep your private jet, keep your mansion, keep everything. I don't care. I am not letting you out before your sentencing in October. You are still a threat to the greater community, and I am not letting up. And I love that. Diddy is not used to being denied anything, right? So you just know he is stewing, he is raging, he is pissed in his prison cell every single day that he is locked up there. And it has been a while so far. I am really, truly loving this judge. If there's a way to send him a fruit basket, please let me know. Aaron Romanian, listen, you deserve all of the freaking flowers. Thank you for keeping this man locked up, because it would suck if they sentenced this guy to like damn near nothing and he was already like, on house arrest for half of the time and whatnot. Like, at least, because he did get convicted on lesser charges, at least he got to spend a pretty decent amount of time in jail waiting to be told his fate. Again, his sentencing date is October 3rd. The judge said that there were, quote, no exceptional reasons warranting a release before his sentencing date. And so Diddy's defense is saying, oh, this is the first person ever who hired prostitutes for his girlfriend and has to go to jail over it. That's crazy. It's so freaking ridiculous, right? And they're trying to get his sentencing overturned in the Mann Act and everything, because they're saying he didn't actually personally pay these people. He didn't actually personally contact these people. He says that Cassie and Jane Doe were the people who were in contact with them. But at the same time, the judge said, listen, look at the evidence that was admitted into the courtroom about how you forced these people to get in there and participate in this stuff. Who's to say that they weren't doing this at your direction and that you weren't beating them anytime they did not comply with you demanding that they go and seek these people out, right? Love, love, love this freaking judge. And every time I see like this photo from the hotel situation or attack on Cassie, I'm pissed that the statute of limitations ran out, because I do think that he deserved to serve serious jail time over that one incident in particular. So let's talk about the bail package that Diddy's team tried to propose that was ultimately shut down, right? So he wanted $50 million bond. He said that he was going to stay at his Miami home, limit his travel to exclusively Florida and New York, but the judge said no. Absolutely freaking not. You're only 2 months away from your sentencing. You're going to stay here for another 2 months. Hang on, y'all. Listen, my leg fell asleep. Hang on. But she said he should stay in jail. I absolutely agree. Amen, Crystal. Thank God. I hope they keep him locked up. Same here. And I hope the judge gives him the freaking maximum. Give him, I think he can go up to 10 years. So give him the 10 years or maybe 9 years, 364 days if you want to go a little bit soft on him. Messed up indeed. Good. I'm so glad he has to sit there until his sentencing. Amen. Amen. Listen, I love that we are Diddy haters around these parts. Winnie the Cat says, good to know there are still judges with integrity. Amen to that. Because I was getting worried out there, right? Especially with somebody as powerful as Diddy, who already had one of his victims, a victim who claimed that this man stomped on her stomach. Now all of a sudden is coming out saying, Judge, let him out. He's a good father. He's a good community man. I don't think he's a danger. That shows you how much power this man has behind the scenes for intimidation, right? So thank God the judge is not intimidated. I do wonder if Diddy has tried to send his goons after him. Why does this feel like, like those like kind of like Italian like mobster movies or like eras or something like that, like the way that the judges would be swayed and targeted and whatnot. Like I was worried for this type of thing in this case, right? Ramster says, dead-eyed, dead doll eyes diddler. Ooh, I love alliteration. Can I just say that was good? Demon Diddy, it is. This guy is absolutely demonic and terrible. How do you even imagine to treat people that way? Like that is absolutely terrifying and gross and creepy. Yes, Steph, I did. I used to have so much fun with them, but I don't have them anymore. I don't remember why I stopped, but I don't have them anymore. But they were so fun. And some of you guys used to like send me pictures and videos of you guys in the shirts and stuff. So that was a really fun time. Oh, you know what? What memories. It's been a while though, but I really, really did love that. Jalisa says, and this is about the Cory story, by the way. Jalisa says, I figured Snapchat was paying well because all the Teen Mom girls are strictly on Snapchat now. Do you have any idea how much they can be making over there? Honestly, I don't remember the exact figures, but like they could be making upwards of like even like 20K a month on Snapchat if they have a good following. Like, cause like, like how they have millions on Instagram, this, that, and the other. Like, yeah, you make like decent money on Instagram, but like on Snapchat, just based off like views, like, oh, you're making good money. I don't know. That's the thing about Snapchat. It's like very close. So like, you don't know how many followers a person has on it. So it would be really, really difficult to tell, but these people could be making crazy money, anywhere from like 20 to like 100K, even more per month off of views. I know that sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, they could be making a good amount of money if they're following theirs, anything close to their followings on TikTok, Instagram, etc. I was going to say Khloe Kardashian, for example. So what Khloe loves to do on Snapchat is she will take a bunch of like old pictures of like her family and videos and stuff like that and just repost it on Snapchat just to get the views because there's a lot of money in that. Are you guys still on Snapchat? Because I was actually quite surprised to hear about all this. I thought people like kind of like left Snapchat in the dust when Instagram released Instagram stories. I haven't used Snapchat since like 2016 or not even 2017, 2016, you guys. Oh, just saying. Why don't we get into Candace Owens, by the way? Listen, you know what's so funny about these Candace Owens stories? When I do them for you here on the Morning Report, I get like reasonable kind of conversation. But then when I like clip them up and put them on like my channel, like as a regular video, I get dragged, y'all. Because, and I'm going to say it again, I don't mind getting dragged, right? It's not going to make me change my opinion. I don't understand Candace Owens' obsession with whether or not Brigitte Macron is a woman or a man, right? Can you say that Brigitte is a creep? Yeah, totally, right? For her relationship with Emmanuel. But like, whether or not she's a biological woman or whatever, I don't get, like some people are saying that like, there's this like, crazy reason that it ties into all this stuff. It's some kind of like, I don't know, Illuminati, trafficking, like something like that. But I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around it. I do have to watch Candace's 8-part documentary, but listen, when I'm not filming the Morning Report, I'm outside touching grass. So I don't necessarily have the time or interest to sit down and watch this 8-part documentary, but I do have to because people are really passionate about what this woman says. And they're really passionate about whether or not Brigitte Macron is a man or a woman. But again, I don't understand why. Like, ça change quoi? What does that change for us? You know what I mean? Like, again, the argument that her relationship with Emmanuel was creepy, was predatory, it was, wrong. Yes. But the other stuff, I don't get it. I feel very much lost. So anyway, Candace was talking to Tucker Carlson, and she said that there was something that happened a couple months ago, which is that Emmanuel went to Washington, D.C. for some regular political stuff. And he had a conversation with Trump that led to Donald Trump calling Candace personally and saying, Candace, you need to lay off from this conspiracy theory or this rhetoric that Emmanuel's wife, Brigitte, is actually a man. And so this kind of might have been something like, do you guys remember that YouTuber without a crystal ball? Remember how she was warned by somebody? I think it was James Charles, before she got sued by Tati Westbrook, right? James Charles went to her in the DMs on Twitter, I believe, and said, Katie, you need to stop talking crap about Tati Westbrook. She is going to sue you. Be very careful. Stop doing it. And then Katie refused, and then she got sued, right? That is what the situation reminded me of, that Trump was like, listen, girl, you in danger. Stop doing this, kind of hinting that this can get really bad for Candace. But Candace truly does not care. Candace says that she's going to continue with her assertions. She's still calling Brigitte a man on social media, as you guys have seen and everything. And so, again, why do we care? Why can't we talk about the other stuff, regarding her that is, a little bit more consequential in my personal opinion. So I'm interested in seeing you guys as, reasons for using or not using Snapchat, by the way. Malen says Candace is doing it because of Russia. Well, what's going on with Russia? What's Russia got to do with this? Who's the president of Russia? Vladimir something? Is he, what's the T there? Ramsher says, so what if Macron was a dude? If it was true? Exactly. That's what I don't get. What do we do with this information? So what happens if Candace wins and we find out Brigitte is a man? Now what? What do we do? Do we take out the pitchforks? Summer says, oh my God, I made it to a live. I'm usually in the playback posse. Hey, Summer, nice to see you. Welcome to the live, boo. Thanks for making it out. Ramster says, and why does Mrs. Macron care what Candace thinks? Well, that's another thing too. Candace is kind of like, who's that guy who said Sandy Hook was fake and all that stuff? The InfoWars guys, it's kind of like somebody like that. You kind of just ignore them, right? Laura says Candace is just no. Yeah, Putin, or as Ramster's pointing it out, how they say here Putin, which is always so funny to me. Yeah, like what's his play in all this? I'm really curious now, but like the Russian connection here. Is Vladimir Putin really Wilhelmina Putin? Is that what we're getting in now? Like, how far does this go, right? It's also fascinating. So again, listen, we'll talk to you guys about it here on the morning report. I feel like, you guys are pretty much on the same page, that you just don't really get what her sex or gender has to do with anything. But then when I cut it up and put it as its own video, oh God, the Candace's, crew or whatever, they come and light my ass up. Laura says, Whoopi Goldberg and goes, Molly, you in danger, girl. Exactly. She needs to tread lightly, and for what? Like, what do you win? Okay. Maybe you'll expose she's born a man. Now what? What do you win? Who cares? Who freaking cares? There's people that are dying, Candace. Like, you could dedicate your time to like more useful outlets, in my opinion, but I digress. Speaking about dedicating your time to more useful outlets, can we talk about the AI epidemic and why the hell Tiffany Haddish and Jason Lee are using AI to pretend they had a baby together? Attention is a drug. Addiction to attention is a serious drug. Because what is this? Look at this photo. I mean, the fact that people are falling for this is so fascinating to me. Like, look at this photo. Like, does this not scream AI to you guys? Like, this is a completely empty reception hall, dining hall, something like that. And we really believe that there was a big event thrown here somewhere. And there's only one official photo taken of Tiffany and Jason with the baby. Like, even the way the baby sits on Tiffany's hand or hip or whatever is unnatural. I'm looking at her fingers to see if they look off, because AI is weird about fingers. Look at her thumb. Like, does anybody's thumb sit out that way? No. It looks like BS to me. I'm not buying this. I know that they've talked about, oh, like if we don't have babies or whatever, like maybe we'll have babies together, but I don't think they actually followed through on that pact. This entire thing looks like AI. It looks like BS. They're not standing around in an empty dining hall parading around a freaking baby together. Please, please, Carisha, please. Or should I say, please. that thing went viral. I woke up to this like, really? Are people actually falling for this? Really? Listen, let me take a look at what y'all have to say about this, because I just know y'all are not falling for it. Good morning, Trintron. Nice to see you, boo. Good morning, Hamlet's princess. Nice to see you. Listen, better late than never. Star says, for 5 seconds, I thought it was a real photo, but not their baby, right? Again, when you look at the fingers in AI, anytime you're having like a doubt, first of all, look at the background, right? The background just looks like BS, like plastic. And then you look at the fingers. The way her thumb is sitting out like that looks painful AF. It's just not real. The baby isn't even properly on her hip. It's kind of just floating. Sweet Bonjour says, AI tricks me at first glance. Same here. I fell for that video of the bunny rabbits on the trampoline. Because here's the thing. When you think about like your use of AI and other people's use of AI, like I use AI to help me like with things, not to be, not, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, really? People really just sit around and like make these random things on AI. Like, let me make bears hopping on a trampoline or bunnies hopping on a trampoline. Like, let me pretend Tiffany Haddish and Jason Lee had a baby. For what? Steph says, I know they made an agreement on going half on a baby. They discussed this on his show, but I don't know about this. LOL, I hate AI. And you know what? I truly, truly hate the fact that we're in this place where we can't even really trust what we're seeing with our own eyes. I think that technology has disappointed us. Not technology, but the law. The laws are not keeping up with the threat of AI, in a way that is sustainable moving forward. And it's very, very worrisome. And yeah, Malen, I can't stand Tiffany Haddish. Like everything about her just disgusts me. Just the things she said and done over the years, like just disgusts me, like in everywhere. She's just such a weirdo to me. And I'm actually quite surprised that she managed to disappear for quite a while. Because I remember the last time I saw her, she was just doing and saying some stupid stuff. I think she was just saying some stuff, anyway, and she just vanished. I was like, thank God. And here she comes again, involved in more stupid stuff, like, right? And exactly, Laura. Who cares? I don't care if Brigitte Macron is a man or a woman. Who cares? If she decided to be, she's transgender or whatever, then okay, good for her too. Who cares? Who cares? I didn't look too hard at the photo. Listen, you know what? I'm jealous of you. You think I wanted to look hard at that photo? Thanks. Yeah, that's so nice of you. Thank you. Tanisha says they both love unnecessary. Exactly. Every time I think about Jason Lee, I giggle to myself about that video of Beyonce avoiding him at the Rock Nation brunch. Anytime you need to pick me up, just look that up. Beyonce avoiding Jason Lee. Hilarious. Julia says the person that added Nikki tutorials that didn't turn out. Yeah, exactly. Like Nikki tutorials came out and said, yeah, I'm trans. Now what? And I think she blew up even more. Who cares? Leave people alone. People are just so miserable and weird about that sort of thing. Like, who cares? Right? It does look like an AI. Look at the windows and the lighting. Let me pull it up again so I can look at that too. Like the whole thing is just BS. They're not hanging out in some basement, like dining hall or whatever. Star says, wait, those bunnies and bears were, no, they weren't. It was fake. It was fake. It was all a lie. I'm telling you, it is crazy what people are doing. And again, it's because, Star, you too, like you wouldn't imagine that somebody would go to AI to make some random thing like that up. Like, why would you do that? Like, who cares? Like, why? Like, people are so weird. Lex says, AI is really scary, man. My brother had a video of his toad kicking around a ball, and I was convinced it was AI at first because I can't believe anything online now. That's the thing. Now we are in the phase where we truly cannot trust our own senses, and it's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And I agree, Be Wise. This is a misuse of AI, in my opinion, right? Laura says AI does have some weird ish. That's about it. LOL. It has a couple of exactly are able to understand. And I think it could be so great when used wisely. It can help you be more efficient. It can help you, be smarter. Like all sorts of things, right? But when you use it for this kind of stuff, like why? And exactly, AI is not great for the environment either. So when people are wasting it in these regards, it's really disappointing. But the thing about AI is we can't escape it anymore, because when you're using your Google, right, your Gmail, when you're using anything, when you're reading articles these days, like, it's AI. Everything is AI powered. Like Google, they'll put like this little thing saying that these are AI generated search results. Or when I'm in my Gmail, they're like, oh, we could summarize your inbox right now. Like the AI power assistant is there. Or when I'm reading an article, I think on People Magazine, like there's an AI, or Yahoo, there's like an AI, like it's everywhere. It's omnipresent. It's already too late for us, y'all. Too late. Malen says, remember, he's the one who added the Jordan Woods affair and bullied her because of the Kardashian. Yeah. He's so weird. I'm sorry. Listen, you're not supposed to talk bad about other people in the quote unquote industry, but anyway, listen, let me shut up now. Anyway, guys, listen, I had a great time chatting with you again. Thank you so much for another great episode of the Morning Report. Channel members, I do have a question for you. I'm going to be asking you that. I'm going to film a video right after this. So if you guys can please keep an eye out for the video I'm about to post, that would be great. Thank you in advance. And per usual, I go live every single weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about the day's hottest stories. So if you enjoyed today's episode and it was your first time, please don't hesitate to come join us again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Please, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't hesitate to go ahead and leave a thumbs up so YouTube knows you enjoy my content. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day, guys. I'm going salsa dancing. I'll try to get some videos for you, okay? Bailamos. Ciao.